Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slash Film Daily for Thursday, July 18th, 2019. On today's episode, we were at San Diego Comic-Con International 2019, and we experienced preview night, New Line Cinema's Scare Diego preview of It Chapter 2, and Amazon Prime Video's activation featuring The Boys and The Expanse. We'll also talk about preview night and HT's first Comic-Con. This is Slash Film Editor-in-Chief Peter Storetta. And joining me right now is Slash Film writer Wai Tran-Bui.
Hey, everyone.
So, we are here. We're together in one room.
We are. We're meeting for the first time and face-to-face, which is crazy.
I talk to you every day on this podcast, and it's crazy that we are in the same room.
I know.
So, this is your first Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. What has the experience been so far?
A little overwhelming. I kind of both anticipated and didn't anticipate everything that I would be going through, mainly the waiting. There's a lot of lines, and I always thought of myself as a patient person, but even this tested my patience quite a bit. But I'm gonna prepare myself a little bit more for the next couple of days. This Comic-Con hasn't even started yet, and I'm already a little tired of waiting in lines.
Yeah, you just experienced preview night, which is on Wednesday night, and we're back at the hotel room. This episode will be online, obviously, on Thursday, and we'll have updates throughout the convention, so keep on coming back. We're not just doing the 5 days a week this week. You should have an episode every day this week, so check out that. Let's first talk about, you went to the Amazon Prime Video activation, and I guess people probably at home are wondering, what is an activation?
An activation is sort of an immersive experience that puts you in the world of whatever TV show or movie is at the center of this activation. Usually it's also entails an activity of some sort. So think of something like an escape room or some sort of a puzzle or mystery that you have to solve.
Yeah, so this kind of started with, I think probably Tron Legacy was the first one to do this, where there was these scavenger hunts. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, maybe Dark Knight did the scavenger hunts, and then Tron Legacy led to you actually entering the world of Tron.
Yeah.
And now it seems like it's corporations just have these activations, which makes it sound very corporate and marketing driven and not fun. It used to be kind of like a fun pop-up thing.
Yeah. I went to one in New York, actually, for Alita Battle Angel, which was quite fun because it did feel like being in that world and kind of being on a movie set, for example. And they have people who are in character as residents of that world in accents and the costumes, and inviting you to do different games or to try to find out something mysterious. So I had a lot of fun with that. This one, they were shorter and the waits were longer, so I don't think I had quite the immersive experience for the ones that were at the Amazon Prime activations. So for this year, the TV shows that were at the center of these activations were The Expanse, The Boys, and Carnival Row. I was told that I would need only an hour and a half to do all three of these because it was a press preview day, so there wouldn't be too many people. That was not the case.
It was a lie.
It was a lie. I waited about 4 hours. It took me 4 hours to do just two of them. And by the time I had finished the Boys activation, I tried to get in line for Carnival Row, and they already closed the line. Oh, wow. So I was a little miffed by that. But what I did experience was fun. They do put a lot of work and dedication into bringing these worlds to life. But I will say that The Expanse, maybe it's also because I don't watch the show, so I don't really understand what was happening, but it did feel like for the amount of time that I waited, which was about an hour, they rushed us through it because they gave us missions and they split us up into groups, but we didn't get to actually finish the mission before they kind of sped up the storyline and had a riot of sorts and then pushed us out, literally.
Okay, then let's talk about the one for The Boys, because I feel like more people are probably interested in this anyways, because this is a new series based on the comic book, and our friend Dan Trachtenberg directed the pilot episode. They're having the world premiere here. Well, I guess they had a world premiere at a film festival, but they're having the Comic-Con premiere here, and we'll be talking about that later. But what was this activation like?
It was quite cool. So they take you into a convenience store that had been broken into, and you are one of a group of, two members of the boys that you must go to this crime scene and scour the store and basically dispose of any evidence of what had taken place there. And you are taken with 15 to 20 other attendees to find your way through like what happened. You review some videotapes and security tapes, and you look through the wreckage. And there at the center of this is a car that has crashed through the window. And at one point, the smoke starts coming out of this car, and it looks very cool. And there are two actors there who kind of lead you through the entire thing. And through it, they're very, I won't say exaggerated, but very bombastic. So they talk about what this world is, and they talk about how superheroes are the worst, and they basically tell you to look for security tapes, find a vault, and open that vault with a code that's hidden somewhere in the store, and then take out a tape and smash it with your foot. So it's quite physical. It's quite fun. There may be a stabbing at one point. So it's a pretty fun and very like thrilling activation.
It sounds like very interactive.
Yeah, it is. And they yell at you too, so it's a little bit intimidating, but it's fun.
So what did you learn about the world of the boys from this?
Everyone is very angry in this world, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
But there's definitely this sort of seedy undercurrent of the world of superheroes, and something that the boys, this group of vigilantes, are trying to both expose but also cover up for their own gain. So there's more of the going than just these group of vigilantes who are trying to bring down superheroes. There's some other politics going on. So I found that fascinating. Yeah.
So we'll have to watch the series to find out more on that. But after that, you actually got to experience some of preview night, which is the first night. Comic-Con begins on Thursday, and they have this thing called preview night, which is if you have a badge for the entire convention, you get to go in early on Wednesday night. But basically everybody that comes here has that badge, so everybody's at preview night. So it's just like the busiest night on the show floor. But it's basically our first look at the show floor. You have never been on the show floor before Comic-Con. You've done comic conventions.
I have. Yeah, so I'm kind of familiar with that sort of space, but the San Diego Comic-Con show floor is just 10 times bigger and more bustling and crowded than any other convention show floor I've been to. But it was exciting. There were much more sort of official stalls than at other conventions I've been to. So there was Marvel, Star Wars, all the official businesses there, in addition to the artists floor as well. So it was really cool just to go to find the BBC stall and wait in line there to buy. I bought myself a little TARDIS backpack, which I was excited for. And they were also showing previews for the new Doctor Who VR game.
Yeah, you tried that out. I forgot about that.
I tried it out, and it was quite fun. So it was different than the VR short film that I had experienced in Tribeca. This is actually a video game that'll be available on the Oculus and PlayStation 4 and other sort of VR consoles.
This isn't one of those like demo experiences that is like trying to sell Doctor Who the show. Mm-hmm. Like they have a lot of those for like movies and stuff. This is actually a game that's going to come out I could buy on Oculus Quest.
It's actually a game, and it was quite a fun game too. Like you were asking me before we started recording, like what would a Doctor Who game even entail? But it's pretty fun. Like you play a person who the Doctor is trying to get to join her in the TARDIS, but you are in a junkyard and under attack by aliens, so you have to assemble a radio to call the TARDIS to you, and from like pieces of that are in this junkyard. But in the middle of assembling it, you are attacked by a Dalek, and you have to, of course, finish this before you die and get exterminated. And there are other monsters from the Doctor Who universe that will appear. There's one that I'm really interested to see how they will play it out, but we didn't get to try it in the demo game. It's a weeping angel, so the conceit of the weeping angel is that you can't look away from it, which I think is very cool for a VR game.
Oh, so everywhere you look, it's going to just be there. That's
exactly.
Cool.
So if you look, then it's frozen as a stone angel. But if you look away or if you blink, then it moves because it's an incredibly fast creature that can only move when you're not looking at it. But when you look at it, it's frozen.
That's actually very cool.
Yeah.
Although I don't think they can track if you blink, but
they can.
They can?
Because they're aliens.
No, I mean like the actual VR headset.
Sorry. Yeah, I think.
I mean, in world,
yes,
they can. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, crazy. And you enjoyed this?
Yeah, I did. It's a great game. I'm excited. I don't have any Oculus or VR consoles, but I was kind of considering getting it because I was like, it was really fun for the part that I got to play. And of course I found my way to all of the anime stalls, the Funimation, the Viz Media, the Crunchyroll stall, and had a lot of fun just collecting a bunch of the free items from that because they sold out of all the things I wanted to buy.
It's funny, I was on the show floor for, what was it open for, like 3-4 hours, something, whatever, and I don't think I encountered any of the anime stuff.
Yeah, it was like a beacon calling for me. I found it within like 5 minutes of being there.
Yeah. It seemed to me, I know you don't have any comparison, but it seemed to me that preview night was busier than it's ever been before. And I was walking the show floor. I recorded a vlog, which I'm about to edit after we finish recording this podcast. So hopefully that turns out well, and hopefully you can click the link in the show notes and find that. But showing all the collectibles and cool stuff I could find on the show floor. But I was stopped by a lot of readers of the site, listeners of this podcast, that just all said nice things. People that actually, I got stopped by more people than that read the site or listen to this podcast. I got stopped by more people that actually follow the new YouTube channel, Ordinary Adventures, which was kind of cool, because these people were stopping me and didn't even know what slash home was. But I don't know, it just made me feel really grateful. There's a lot of cool stuff I saw on the show floor in terms of collectibles and stuff. And I'll again, I recorded a whole video blog, which hopefully I can edit tonight before I crash.
I do want to say I really enjoyed seeing the props from films too.
Yeah.
That was something that's not as usual in other conventions. So, Marvel costumes, there's the Batman anniversary happening right now. So there's props from the Christopher Nolan films and costumes from there as well, which I thought was really cool to see. And
you also have those like multi-level booths, which are like much bigger than I think you see at normal conventions.
Yeah, for sure. It's very a lot of layers to it.
I know that you, after preview night, you were thinking about going out to a social gathering of fellow journalists, and you just texted us, and you're like, "No, I'm gonna go back to the room and go to sleep."
Yeah, I'm already worn out. It's only Wednesday. Yeah. How is that possible? I gotta, get my stamina up.
Well, I'll let you go to sleep, and we're gonna talk to Jacob about It Chapter 2. Thanks for joining us, HG.
Thanks, Peter.
Joining me now is the managing editor of SlashFilm.com, Jacob Hall.
Hello, Peter.
It's great to be doing this again across the table from you. I didn't get to see you at all this afternoon because you were not at preview night like HD and I were. You were at a event called Scare Diego?
Yes. While preview night was going on, I was having tequila waiting for the theater to open for Scare Diego. This is the third annual event thrown by Warner Brothers and New Line to promote their upcoming horror films. And last year was a big grab bag of things upcoming. And this year they focused the entire panel on one film, that's It Chapter 2. So it was the premiere of the new trailer, which if you're listening to this is online by now. And 3 clips from the film, and then a panel moderated by Conan O'Brien with director Andy Muschietti and all the actors playing the Adult Losers Club were all there. And the panel itself was one of those things where nobody...
Conan O'Brien seems like such an odd choice for a It Chapter 2 panel.
I think, this is me purely speculating, it was in the same theater where he's going to be having the next couple episodes of his show filmed from. So I think they just found a way to kill 2 birds with one stone and get him to already have a set, already have the lights, just move in there and have him do it.
And you walked out with like a Funko version of Conan as Pennywise?
Everybody got a Funko Pop of Conan O'Brien as Pennywise. So if you want that, DM me on Twitter. We'll talk about a price.
Oh no, you're gonna get like tons of DMs.
I don't need it in my life. But the panel stuff was fun. It was fine. No real news from the actual panel. The actors were all very charming. Bill Hader is incredibly funny in person, as you'd imagine. So I want to talk about the clips, Peter. We saw three.
Wait! Before you talk about the clips, because I know some people probably want to tune out now because they don't want spoilers.
Yes.
So before you talk about the clips, so those people can, when we give them the proper time. Can you give me your broad reaction to the footage you saw that doesn't spoil anything?
If you enjoyed 2017 It, and the box office suggests that you did, you will enjoy what I saw from It Chapter 2 tonight. It is very much more the same, but in a way that feels like if it's not broke, don't fix it, as opposed to reheated leftovers. I mean, the same characters are there, and I feel like the actors seem to have really slid into them. Like, there was the shorthand of seeing these actors together as adults and knowing that they're these kids you love from the first movie felt really instant. And the scares didn't quite land for me, but I also think the scares don't really land for me in the first movie either. I think they're more spooky than they are scary.
The first movie is not really a scary movie. It's more creepy than scary.
And I think that applies here. I think that very much applies here. Nothing in this footage was like, make me jump in my seat, but I admired the artistry of it. I admired the tone. And Andy Muschietti, doing what he does, which is, very stylish, atmospheric horror. And the jump scares, they're there, but I always enjoy the stuff leading up to that more than the actual sudden soundtrack sting followed by a clown jumping in your face.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the clips now. So if anybody doesn't want to know about this, you can tune out now. But keep in mind that Warner Brothers and New Line Cinema are using these clips to promote the film, and they're showing it to wide audiences. So this is probably stuff that's going to appear in the trailers and whatever. So I don't think this is necessarily this is obviously also a book that has been out for
millions of people have read. Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much of a spoiler warning we got to give, but there you go.
Yeah, there are a few things I am going to leave out. I'm doing a written version of this as well. So if you want to read that on slashfilm.com, it'll be up maybe by the time you hear this. But yeah, there are a few things I will skim over that I think probably do deserve to be seen in a theater, but I am going to talk about the basic details of what they showed. Okay.
So go ahead. Let's talk about clip number one.
Clip number one is a scene that if you've read the book or if you've seen the miniseries, you should be very familiar with, and that is a scene set at Jade of the Orient, a strip mall Chinese restaurant in Derry, Maine, where the adult losers reconvene after 27 years. Mike Hanlon, the only loser to stay in town, has called all his old friends because Pennywise the Clown, It, is back. And anybody who leaves Derry doesn't have the memory of what happened. They don't remember Pennywise. So all they know is that they're reconvening for a promise they made as kids and don't know what's going on. So the first half of the clip is all the losers meeting up and remembering each other and hugging and doing shots and eating food and laughing. And it's very fun. It feels very loose. And Bill Hader's killing it. He's the most impressive person in this footage. He really inhabits more so than anyone else in these snippets, what Finn Wolfhard was doing as a character in the first film. And it's very fun to have these characters. The heavy lifting has been done for us, Peter, and I feel like they're aware that we already love these kids so much that the best thing these adults can do is try to remind us of them, and they do that. And the first half of this clip, which really is just them goofing off, is incredibly fun. And things take a darker turn when Mike starts reminding them of why they're here, and they all start remembering Pennywise, and they all start remembering, oh no, really bad things happened. And then they notice that one of their numbers is missing. Stan is not there. If you've read the book or seen the miniseries, you know where Stan is. And they all start cracking open fortune cookies, and the messages all spell out what happened to Stan in a very dark moment when they all realize it. And then a fortune cookie comes to life with a giant spider leg out of it, and the clip ends. So
awesome!
It was a very good scene, and I'm very excited to see more chemistry between these actors.
Are they intercutting any footage of them as kids with this?
When Ben and Bev first meet, there's a flashback of them as kids sharing a moment. But that's the only one in this footage. I imagine there'll be more for sure.
Yeah.
The second one is a scene that's not in the miniseries or book. It's completely invented for the movie. So I'm very curious to see how it plays and where it plays. And that there's a carnival in Derry. Like I said, no carnival in either version before this. And the scene finds James McAvoy's Bill chasing after a kid who's being hunted by Pennywise. And the kid goes to a fun house and into a hall of mirrors, and Pennywise is after him. And it's the kind of thing where, you see Pennywise creeping around in the reflections, appearing in places where he shouldn't be appearing. And there's some really cool shots where you'll see, 10 different versions of James McAvoy's Bill because there's mirrors everywhere, but Pennywise appears in like one reflection, he doesn't appear in any other. So it's some really, really crafty, good atmospheric scares. And the clip reaches its climax when Bill finds himself right through one transparent window away from the kid, and Pennywise is very, very close and starts slowly banging his head against the glass. And the glass starts cracking, and he starts speeding up and up and up, and his head starts in sort of a grotesque Looney Tunes fashion, starts flattening out against the glass as it cracks. And of course it ends with Pennywise breaking the glass and lunging at the camera, and Bill screaming, take me instead of the kid. It's a very good scene. I have no idea where it falls in the story, because like I said, there's no carnival in the book or the show, so I don't know if this is third act stuff, middle of the movie, but it's a very effective spooky scene. But like so much of the original I think the build up to the final scare is so much more effective than the actual scare.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because I love when they use a maze of mirrors. That's a trope in horror, and even when it's done badly, it's usually kind of interesting. And someone like Andy, who is a good cinematic filmmaker and storyteller, I think there's, that's ripe for some exploration, especially with Pennywise, and how you can use the more psychedelic kind of aspects of that.
Yeah, so that brings us to the last one, which is the return to the house in Neibolt Street, which you remember from the first film. It's a really creepy abandoned house where the kids have some really upsetting adventures. And they return, and it's nighttime, and Bill has gone alone, and the rest of the looters catch up to him and refuse to let him go alone. They have a great moment I won't spoil here where what character repeats a line from the first film in a dramatic fashion. It was a really big crowd-pleasing moment, so I'll just leave that out here. And they go into the house, and this is where I'm going to drop another spoiler warning, Peter, because if you even don't care about spoilers, we're going to talk about something that's from the book and the miniseries here, so stop if you don't want to hear it. But they're exploring the house, and a door slams, the characters are split, including a few of them in the kitchen. Bill's there, and a few others, and the refrigerator starts rattling, and it opens up, and the body of Stan Uris is in the fridge, folded in half, but it's not adult Ben Uris, it is a kid. It is Wyatt Olaf reprising his role as young Stan in this Pennywise vision, and he's clearly been dead for a long time in this fridge, and his corpse starts speaking, saying, "Why did you let me die? Why did you let me die?" Then the head rolls off. The severed head rolls right off across the room, starts talking and screaming, and then in a very blatant homage to The Thing, which they confirmed was intentional in the Q&A afterward, the head sprouts spider legs and rushes at them. So it's, if you remember The Thing, there's a scene where the character's head literally rips off and grows spider legs and rushes at all the characters. And can't remember the exact line of dialogue. I think it's Bill Hader saying, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." They said they actually added that line because that's what the characters say in The Thing when the spider head runs at the characters in that movie. So they improv that when they realized that people would just enjoy the reference going even further. So there is no spider-legged head version of Stan Uris in the book or miniseries, but it's really fun to see them doing a blatant John Carpenter reference in the middle of it, chapter 2. I mean, I was tickled by it, and the horror fans around me seemed tickled by it. And I don't know if they'll have more like this or not, but I know that since a lot of people wondered how, in the original It book, the monsters are very much drawn from 50s horror, and It is a classic 80s horror film, so I feel like it makes sense that Pennywise would imitate a classic 80s horror scare to scare these characters. So, intentional or not, I'm really on board for that as a reference.
I didn't think I could get more excited for this film, but everything you're saying sounds really cool. After seeing this footage, are you more excited?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's going to make $1 bajillion, and the trailer, which is also online, is an incredibly well-cut trailer. I'm prepared for this to be a really good movie. I think the adult portions of it aren't as good as the kid stuff on the page in the original novel. So I'm very curious to see.
That's my one hesitation, too. Like, the first movie is more obviously like Stranger Things, or I guess what Stranger Things copied from.
Yeah.
It's the dog eating the dog, whatever. But I guess that's my hesitation, but it seems like everything you saw of the adult stuff in this was good.
Yeah, everything I saw here looked good. Like I said, it was about 10 minutes of footage overall. I'm not going to make any final judgments here. But if you were sold on the original It, this looks like a sequel to It in all the ways you expect it to look and feel.
Very cool. Okay, well, we're going to end the podcast here. If you want to find more of all of our work, go to slashfilm.com. This podcast, Slash Film Daily, is published every weekday. You can subscribe on iTunes, Google, Overcast, Spotify, all the popular podcast apps. Please feel free to send your feedback, questions, comments, concerns to us at peter@slashfilm.com. I promise I'm not going to read it until after Comic-Con, so you can email me all you want, and I'm probably not going to read it. But please do. And please rate and read this podcast on iTunes. Tell your friends, spread the word, and we'll see you tomorrow.